Hey diddly dee. Hello people. And other greetings such as um well one of somebody who follows me, one of my subscribers, Scott Farrington, just said, "Hi, you've not been live. I've not seen you live." And I said I was live a few days ago. It was both was well, whatever. I just were maybe goaded to come back and just say what's on my mind, which is like a load of things, and obviously the you'd be lucky to get a sensible account of whatever all that stuff is. Just been doing a lot of reading, I suppose, overnight. I think for me, a lot of reading, not by maybe other people's standards. Well, look, there's a ton of things I could say, but the title really says it all. It's coming up to another equinox. I think I'll probably be here for about another year anyway. I think I'm probably looking at maybe March equinox like next year or December this year. December this year or December winter equinox or spring, like, because that's the time, isn't it, to get shot running. So okay, this all sounds really cryptic. I have a photograph of my child, and in the photograph she's 10 and she's really obviously pregnant. And it's not just me who believes that. I'm not saying that I've shown this photograph to lots of people. So that baby won't last very long. In fact, according to when I think that photograph was taken, I received it in October. No, I didn't. I received it on the 1st of July. So the photo was taken in June. So baby would have been born. So that's a nearly 11-year-old girl having a baby, because you could just, rely upon other sources. But as far as I'm aware, children that are in care are like 70 times more likely to be abused in care than they are with their birth family. And that's what Satanists do. They like to impregnate their young, and then they can just discard that young. Now, if you like, you can call me insane, and I'd be like, okay, well, that's very much a possibility as well in this world. So if she's not pregnant, although she really does look pregnant in that photo, yeah, I guess that baby would have been born sooner, actually, not right now. If she's not pregnant, then there's something very wrong with her health, because there is no way that that was just a big meal. Like, if she's walking around that bloated on any day of the week, that's a medical problem. Which, as her mother, like, I'm best positioned to care about. But because she's under Child Protective Services, there's no one for me to complain to, because I can't, like, yeah. Well, I actually might. I think that's what I will do. I will at least try to get hold of one of the agencies and say that I'm concerned about her health, because I clearly can't phone them and say, I'm concerned that I've already contacted them a couple of years ago and told them that I thought the father was concerned. I wanted to know, why did the father want to adopt a girl? Why was he so enthusiastic about her? And they don't follow up on that because, you know. But these are questions that anyone who's, because, look, these are self-fulfilling prophecies anyway, like, to say, oh, look what's happened to the mother now. Wasn't that the right decision? Well, I didn't stand in the way of them adopting her. They took me to court and gave me a lawyer, and I didn't really protest a great deal, because firstly, it was way out of my limits to be able to do so, and secondly, because if there was any risk that she was going to come to harm with me, then obviously I'm going to cooperate with them. And they were sure that there was a risk, and I was like, well, yeah, looking at my family, there's a risk. And looking at the state of my health, there's a risk. but we didn't know about Ehlers-Danlos and ankylosing spondylitis, and that kind of bloating could be caused by a serious gluten problem. Endometriosis as well can cause massive bloating like that. There's lots of things that can cause GI problems, but she's dead skinny as well. So that's not a healthy looking child. In fact, she went from my care hitting the 50th percentile to dropping in the first week in foster care to the 25th percentile. So she's been downhill all the way. And all this really comes back on my dad anyway, for treating me like a sex doll, like a gimp. And then, walking away and then acting like all concerned, like, oh, my daughter's having a breakdown. It must be that old mental illness again. Huh. Gosh, isn't it amazing how it just afflicts so many more people today, in fact. Well, anyway, I don't want to rant. I just want to say, because my thoughts are not well put together, so I don't want to start ranting just to have something to say or to like deflect or whatever, but I'll try and get hold of someone and just say, look, I'm concerned about her health. She shouldn't look like that. But I will just say it's very difficult to ask the CPS, as in the Child Protective Services, to investigate a child that they've already placed for adoption. Because, well, anyway, I will say this, that there used to be a Google page for East Herts District Council, Local Authority, Child Protective Services, up until about 2016, and they had to remove it because it had so many comments on there, none of which were from me. Some of which were from people that weren't even speaking in their first language. You could tell there was like different languages going on there. Just saying this is a paedophile racket. And they had to remove their page because they had so many Google responses saying this is child trafficking. Guy, I had to put maps in the title because I didn't want to use the P word. I don't believe that paedophilia is a sexual orientation. And if it is, I think you should hand yourself in. Although I'm so cynical about it, I think it's probably just a backdoor into the club for a lot of people. Like if, that's how Kathy O'Brien got sucked into MK Ultra, was because her dad was sending pornography through the post. CSAM images, child sexual exploitation images through the post, and the government wanted her child, their child, to because we're so suggestible. And don't forget, my mum was adopted. So then we don't know as well, like what happened with my grandma or what happened with her mum. We don't know how many generations back this adoption is going in my family. But it's, even nutrition to a mother, like poor nutrition affects the IQ of the offspring. So imagine what repeat intergenerational adoption trauma causes, and repeat child sexual exploitation in terms of suggestibility and many different things. And it's sick because, I don't know, like I'm already handicapped to be sitting outside of things, but I don't want to take part. I don't know what that is, even that everyone's got going on there. It's not nice. But I feel extremely powerless. If I say, oh, she looks pregnant, I think she's being abused. Like, it's not even I think. Like, it's not as if you can sever the bond there between me and her. That looks like an abuse situation, even the look on her face. But it's very difficult for me to say that to anyone because, ob's crazy. Because that always happens to someone else, isn't it? Someone else. I'm so hurt about it. I'll be more useful to her when I'm in another place. Anyway, I was talking about December Belfast because I was just saying that equinoxes being that, like, there was an attempted overdose that happened out on my street on the equinox last June, which I documented earlier. If you haven't seen it, it's a long story that I don't have capacity to tell right now. It was an attempted overdose in the street. It's a long story. Well, it's not even a long story, but it's long for me to go into. And I was only telling it yesterday. So whatever, I don't want to revisit that. It's just the equinox. If you know anything about the satanic calendar, equinoxes are prime time for doing away with people, you know. And in fact, there's a spike of so-called suicides in March and June, which are both equinox months. I'm just saying, it's only according to a dream that I had in 2016. I'd say it's lights out for me, probably December equinox. Just running, running, running. Well, you know, whatever. Sorry, there's no happy haha clap clap in this. All in it together, guys. It's unfortunate that Q decided to take so many truths and, you know, where we go one, we go all. It's like, fuck you, Q, Project Trust. We are, you know, it does, you can't deny that what affects me affects you. And especially like on a level like this, like when I told my mum about this stuff, she went through everything after that. And she's still with a handler. She's still Malcolm David Orton, lives in Ireland, claimed to be best friends with Jimmy Savile when I was still a child living in Hertfordshire. I was like 8 or 9 and Jim will fix it was on TV and he was like bragging that that was his best friend. He used to tell these stories about how he was connected with like Saudi, Dubai or whatever. Like, I'm not interested because they don't really ever get out of here. I think Buddhism tells it so well, but they're just gonna completely just keep getting reborn. What a boring, boring scenario. So yeah, smell you, wouldn't want to be here. But it does tax the limit, it stretches the limits of my faith to the absolute maximum to believe in a loving God. And I think probably more so being stuck inside. When I go outside and I'm around people and I see nature, I feel automatically like I'm okay with stuff. But things have not been all right for some time, and I think it really like even at like 27 or 28, and I was looking back at my life even at that point, and I thought, wow, things fucked up so long ago. All right, well, this is my ramble. I'll try and get hold of Child Protective Services or who one of the agencies and just be like, that's a health problem to be that skinny and to have that much of a solid stomach. Like she looked, I would say a good 5 to 6 months pregnant, like borderline 5 months, 6 months pregnant. I suppose like that skinny, she could have been more. And that photo was taken like end of June, July, whenever. Like so, and that's when my dad stopped having sex with me was when I turned 10 because I could have fallen pregnant and also because my mum took me out of that space a lot. One of my brothers was complaining. One of my older brothers was complaining to my mum about my behavior at the weekend, that my dad was keeping me awake, and then I would come back and I'd be bouncing off the walls, and then I would settle down again, then we'd go back to my dad's at the weekend. And my mum asked me, like, do I want to keep going or do I want to go to the pony shows instead? And I was like, I'll go to the pony shows. And but I was still seeing my dad, obviously, like he had rights over me for like from the divorce and everything. But at 10, like I could have got, you know, I weighed enough to get pregnant. It just, you know, it's just this like, it's really icky. And it's so mixed up with religion. And I have all sorts of thoughts about religion, and probably a lot of them are not helpful to other people, but it's not looking good, is it? Like, it's really not looking good. This is the holiest month and everything. So I'm hedging my bets on a ban, but that wasn't my original idea. I just think it'll get things sorted out. I think it'll sort the wheat from the chaff. And we may as well, like, because we're completely lawless anyway. So, you know, you may as well just go and, you know, slap an RIP on it, and maybe it'll come back later. Because the way it is now is disgusting. Like, the stories I hear and the things I've seen about people that, because obviously in my family we didn't have a Bible, Quran in the house. We had like, who's that writer? Jackie, someone. You know, my mum had books and everything, but was not a. Well, apparently my dad was a Christian, okay? So let's just put it that way. He was a Christian with a gimp for a daughter. So, you know, and Freemasons are very loving people. They obviously are very keen on charity and doing things for the benefit of others. So, and I will just add at the end of this, it's completely not related, but it just was in my head that there is a dungeon in Hertford. And if they want a gimp, well, look, I have a lot of time on it. Jackie Collins, I think it's the one. All those kind of trash and, other shit like that. The Gimp, the Gimp. Yeah, the sex doll. Nice. Well, I mean, people mistake me for a dominatrix, and it's not my role. It's just when you ride horses, you're on top of the horse. You're not, it takes different equipment. Guys, this is set to over 18. It's just it's loose-ended. No, just because I rode horses, it doesn't mean I'm a dominatrix. I'm about as sub as you can get. Buck might also punch you in the head to get away, depending on certain factors. So that has been done. That has been done. So, well, it was good talking to me. I do appreciate people. Do I appreciate you? I don't know that I do. I think that means I add to you. Well, we all add to each other, but see, I'm just making shit up. At least it comes out my mouth and not anywhere else. Okay, good. Well, quite honestly, just be fucking careful. Just be fucking careful because they're expanding the role of the state in parenting anyway. They want, because everyone, people get behind these things, and so now if there's any chance that you're a racist or a sexist or a transphobe or a misogynist or any kind of ist, just racist, that's all under the one R word, sorry, but it is. That's all under racism. Basically, if you hate people outside of your own, whatever it is, capacities and identifications, it's been proposed not as a pre-screening before you get pregnant, but when you fall pregnant, the state can intervene because we don't want we don't want children to come to harm. There's risk of future harm. That's what all of the children in the UK, the babies in the UK that are being adopted, are basically being adopted on grounds of risk of future harm. So no actual harm, no actual neglect, sometimes poverty, very often. Then the local authority then spends lots of money taking that family or that parent to court to take the child and put them in a better family. So they're expanding that role by the looks of it, according to Cian Kenapur, sorry, butchered his name, Cian Cianpour, I don't know, a WEF speaker at Davos a couple of years ago, to say, well, if you're just a bit quite blatantly racist, if you look on X, we'll take your kids and give them to people that can't have babies on their own. And we know from statistics that when you take a child and you put it in the care of other people, they don't have the hormonal, biological capacity to give a shit. And they are very much more likely to be abused in care than they were at home. And they don't adopt the children who have been abused. They might go into foster care and then continue being abused in foster care, but they don't get adopted because nobody wants to adopt a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old child that's been disturbed. They want babies. They want the parenting experience. And who else was obsessed with that? Epstein, with his ranch in San Diego, Zorro's ranch, impregnating women all over the place. And, well, this is a delicate age. 10, 11 was the same age that those two tried to abduct me from Kenwood Park, Glenn Maxwell, with her boyfriend, Jeffrey, hunched over with a scarf over his head as if he were an old lady. And my dad ran up, called my name, grabbed my hand, took me away, and then went back to the picnic area where everyone else was, including my stepmom, and said, 2 women just tried to abduct Natasha. Well, thankfully, he's off somewhere else now, because I mean, I was lucky to go back with him, but, bearing in mind the other version of things, but still, I mean, I'd already been there in the theatre with them anyway, so, but none of this can be proven because I was too young. And clearly, I'm just a wanker all by myself, all right? Okay, that's enough. If anyone has got a solution for hips that displace within a groin that is full of arthritis, hanging upside down, I believe, is one thing I came up with. But I just need to turn this off. Thank you for giving me a lifeline. I'm still writing the best-selling rap album in the entire world. You can tell everyone because that story's been repeated so many times. I think it was a very good deflection point, and it would have been better phrased as, I'm going to try to write some raps. I'm still doing that. My writing partner and friend Omar has told me to graduate onto double-syllable rhyming schemes, for which I love him. And I've had to remove recent writing because I finally got feedback after actually directly asking for it. And I need to make it more clear what is going on with that. All right, well, thanks for bearing with the bullshit. If you do pray, I'm not sure I want to know about it. This hurts, this stuff, but life is better outside, so I will walk. One of these days I will walk. I will walk again. All right, I'm triggering myself now with all sorts of other things to do with Liverpool and my stepfather and You Will Never Walk Alone and even St. Francis of the What's-It, carrying them over the water. All these beautiful things that really are quite meaningless. So I don't think I'll have a vape, actually, at this rate. I mean, I'll tell you where my brain went a bit fucked, like, to the point where it's like, I just thought, if they had that baby with my child, that daughter, and then ate the baby, I want to see them. I want to see that with my own eyes. Well, because my child had to suffer that. They don't just have another baby with the child, like, gone. Nom, 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 nom. And if you think this is sensational, it's not. It's been going on for, like, millennia. This is not a new thing. This is not a modern phenomenon. It's just hidden in plain sight. All right, not to be a Debbie Downer. Bye-bye. Well, give a fuck. Be Debbie Down all you like. I'm just saying. If you're going to eat a baby, from another baby's baby, I like to see it. I'd like to just witness and go, yeah, definitely do not pass go.